Hey guys, welcome to week 5. Time does go fast. So let's check out the signposts that we have ahead for this week's module. First off, we have the COW Session 2, and that is due this Friday, July 5 by 4 p.m. And look at that, 4th of July is around the corner. So make sure to get this in. Respect to you for getting the COW Session 1 in when that was due. So now just follow through and do the same with this one. Remember, this Friday, July 5 by 4 p.m. The second signpost you'll notice is the research paper essay outline worksheet. So if you'll recall from last week's module, we spoke about the research paper itself and this outline to help you create an anatomy for what the actual structure will look like of your research paper. So think of it like a skeleton. That's how I like to think of it. And that one's going to be due this upcoming Saturday by 11:59 p.m. So those are the signposts ahead. And also you'll notice that we're shifting gears actually into a brand new thematic unit, and it's entitled Technology and Us. So because our class's larger overarching theme is the human experience, well, certainly as citizens of the 21st century, we cannot overlook just how really important technology is, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So we cannot overlook technology. So that's what this thematic unit is entitled. And let's actually go to the Module 5 to take a look at what we're going to be seeing in terms of details for this week. So we are here, Technology and Us. The first one is the assignment link for the research paper essay outline worksheet. So go ahead and submit it to this link. Remember, that's due Saturday, this upcoming Saturday by 11:59 p.m. Next thing we have is the COW session. Just a little reminder here, and that is due this upcoming Friday by 4 o'clock. And if you have some questions about how to do the COW, hopefully you already did the orientation. That's what that was for. But also, I briefly talk about it in the video for the COW session 1. So you can go ahead and take a look at those previous videos. And, of course, review the COW orientation. So doing the COW session 2, that's 25 points. So make sure to do that. Remember, this Friday by 4 p.m. Next up is how we actually transition from communities into technology and us. So up to this point, we have been taking a anthropological perspective, I would say, to communities, and even we looked at last week's module about the impact that we can have on communities. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but prior to last week, when we were talking about communities of practice and discourse communities, that was all about how that was all about that was all about the community. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. No, that was all about the impact that communities have on us. And then last week was the impact that we have upon our community. So it was that what it has on us, what we have on it, and now actually we're going to use this concept entitled the global village theory to help us segue into technologies and us. So as you're going to see here, there was a Canadian media theorist named Marshall McLuhan who in 1964 came up with this observation about how through the use of telecommunications and media outlets, we were becoming a sort of global village where what was once private is now public. And for all of you ardent Instagram users and the ones who make everything public, including the bagel that you had for breakfast, then that's a brilliant example of the global village theory. So it's such a trip that Marshall McLuhan came up with this concept way back in 1964 because it has so much parallel to our modern day and age in terms of how, because of telecommunications and technology and all these social media platforms, really, we've become a global village. And what's crazy is that he was talking about all this even before the days of the internet. This was just through his observation of the television and the radio and the newspapers. If only he would have known about the internet, right, and just how spot on he was going to be. So that's precisely why I chose this concept to help us segue into technology and us. So the point of commonality that this thematic unit has with the previous one is that if we're talking about this interrelated connection that exists between the community and us and the community, now we go to a much larger and macro/global scale, literally actually. Because of the presence of tech, certainly we have become a global village, and our community is much greater than it was before the presence of technology and the internet in our lives. So that's our segue. Remember we talked about transition. So that's the transition into this one, which is the interconnectedness between us and our communities, the communities and us, but then in this sense, it's exploring a different facet in the sense that it's a interconnectedness between us and the global village, the community of the whole world. So it's like much more gargantuan proportions, really. So here's your task for this particular assignment, is to watch this short summary of the global village theory, and in order to honor you as students, this is actually a video that was made by a student just like yourself. I don't recall what school they're from, but the creators are indeed students. So go ahead and check out this video and then answer this. How have we become a global village? If you'll recall, whenever we use these quotation marks, it's because in this instance, I'm referencing a specific key term from our text, which in this instance is this video. Here's the larger connection. How does mass media, and then in parentheses I write, the internet, social networking, radio, films, etc., help to shape the types of communities that we build in the 21st century? In what ways does mass media affect our modern communities? So So it's one of those things where if I was you, I would take notes as you're watching this and absolutely turn on these subtitles. I know that always helps me a ton. Then after that, you make the connection with what you see in our modern day and age, in our current tech culture. I don't know if you've heard the term technocracy, but it's like a democracy led by technology. I know that some presidential leaders are continually tweeting, and it becomes a technocracy. But that's what comes to mind as I'm thinking about this right now. So take this concept and then apply to what comes to mind from our current culture and technological society. So that's this one. And again, as usual, remember to reply to at least one classmate's post, as you have been doing, and I shall indeed include the reminder here. So that's that assignment. The next one is our story. We have a cool story this week by Ray Bradbury, who's one of my favorite science fiction authors. One of the cool things about this genre of science fiction is that it's speculative in nature. What that means is that it speculates a potential tomorrow based on current patterns. So back in this time when Ray Bradbury wrote this, look, it was 1950. So this is the time when the brand new home appliances were being released for the first time, and they were, for that day, in the age of standards, technologically advanced and such. And it's Ray Bradbury had this vision of what a future would look like where we are so intensely dependent upon technology. And this is what is the greatest trip, is that we're in 1950, and there is so much of a resonance with our current state of affairs in 2019, present day, that you could have sworn that it was written just last week. So really, I hope you enjoy this story as much as I know I do. So that's this task. Go ahead and read this one. And then immediately after reading the story, take this reading quiz. I know that this is I believe it's our first one for our summer term. So it's really simple. You have 5 minutes to take it. There's 5 questions, and each question is worth 1 point for a total weight of 5 points. So, yeah. So simply, let me actually show you what it looks like from your end. Yeah. So you'll just see it here, and then you'll see the question here, and then indicate your response, and then push next. Don't forget to submit the quiz too. And I don't want you to freak out because really it's low stakes in that it's only 5 points. But if you read the story, then you'll absolutely be able to answer it like a real breeze that it is. I believe in you. Okay, and here's the actual discussion board assignment that corresponds to the Veld. The Veld, that word Veld, guys, is pretty much like a savanna. So it's a grassland in Africa where in a Veld there really aren't so many trees. It's just flat and dry yellow grass and what you think of where when you think of where the lions live and such. So that's what a Veld is. So you're going to cite a quote from the story that you feel is significant, and then based upon that quote, you're going to answer this. What is its larger meaning as it relates to the story, and then why is this quote significant? And as usual, remember to reply to at least one classmate's post so that it can be a genuine discussion board where there is back and forth repartee, which is correspondence between you. That's what makes it a genuine discussion board. If not, it's just a monologue, you shouting into a vacuum with no reciprocity at all. I believe, yes, okay. That's actually it for Module 5. Because if you'll see down here, that's announcing Module 6. So that's it for this week, guys. Make sure to get the Cal Session 2 done by Friday by 4 o'clock, and make sure to turn in the research paper essay outline worksheet. The actual worksheet itself, you can obtain it from last week's module. Remember, I don't want you to think that it's set in stone. You can absolutely make changes when the actual time comes for you to write the paper. It's tentative. The idea is for you to put your foot forward. So so knock that out. And that's this Saturday by 11:59 p.m. Other than that, I wish you a happy week, and I know that things get hard sometimes, but remember, just take everything one day at a time, one step at a time, and that's actually what adds up at the end of the day. So, enjoy your week, guys.